Tonight on NewsWatch, total chaos as terrorists gain ground city by city in Iraq. People ask, can anything stop them?
Plus, children at the border, the real humanitarian crisis behind the heated debate over America's southern borders and illegal immigration.
And as the nations gather for the World Cup, a look at how God is using the games for His glory. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. A nation crumbling at the hands of terrorists. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. Iraq is spiraling into chaos. After thousands of American lives and hundreds of billions of dollars, there's not much the U.S. can do now to stop it. Jihadist militants are marching their way toward Baghdad and capturing key cities along the way. Iraq's military is on the run, and Iraq's Christians are fleeing the Islamist army. George Thomas has more in tonight's top story.
Mosul and Tikrit have already fallen to the al-Qaeda offshoot known as ISIS, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. And there is little sign of resistance as the militants march their way toward Baghdad.
They control territory, they control border crossing points, they control oil resources, mineral resources, trade, income. They have a base in the middle of the Middle East.
And this battle comes after America lost more than 4,000 troops fighting in Iraq and spent nearly $2 trillion trying to help stabilize the country. But instead of fighting, Iraq's military is on the run, leaving their American-made weapons and Humvees in the hands of these militants.
They were at one time aligned with al-Qaeda, but even al-Qaeda says they're too extreme because they kill civilians.
CBN international correspondent Gary Lane.
I think it shows you that you can provide the most advanced weaponry, you can provide the training, but what do you do about someone's will if they don't have the will to fight? Many of these Iraqi fighters laid down their weapons, they abandoned their uniforms, you could see them lying in the streets. They don't have the will to give their lives for al-Maliki and his government.
Iraq's prime minister has asked citizens to take up arms as Iraqi forces are fleeing, but citizens are on the run as well. 500,000 people are believed to have left Mosul, including Christians. Nina Shaib, director of religious freedom at the Hudson Institute, calls this the end game for the cleansing of Iraq's Christians.
All of the Christians of Iraq have had to flee, or virtually all of them have had to flee north to Mosul and beyond over the last 10 years because of very severe persecution. And so now we're seeing Mosul itself being cleansed of its Christians. There's virtually no Christians left in Mosul, and all the churches are closed.
Shea is calling on the White House to take action on behalf of these Christians and innocent Iraqi people.
The administration right now needs to get humanitarian aid to these people. I'm hearing that from the Nineveh plain, where a lot of them have fled, there's only food and water for about 2 days. Beyond that, they need to appoint a special envoy for Middle East minorities.
Meanwhile, the Iraqi government has asked the U.S. to carry out airstrikes, but there's no sign the U.S. wants to get involved. George Thomas, CBN News.
CBN News terrorism analyst Eric Stakelbeck spoke on the 700 Club today about the situation in Iraq. He says the militant terror groups are not likely getting their money from donors like al-Qaeda does.
Apparently where they're getting a lot of their money, a lot of their funding, Pat, is just from looting and raiding local municipalities and local cities, like they did in Mosul. They raided the central bank, took hundreds of millions of dollars, raided government buildings, etc. So that's how they're doing it so far.
To view that entire interview, you can go to our website, cbnnews.com.
The surge of children at the U.S. southern border is now both a political and a humanitarian crisis. The U.S. Border Patrol reports a 92% spike in children flowing across the Mexican border, many without their parents. The Texas Attorney General is asking the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for immediate help, $30 million in resources, to be exact. Dale Hurd has more on the problem that is overwhelming on several fronts.
It's an unprecedented surge on America's southern border. Thousands of minors crossing over, most without parent or adult guardians, and picked up by the U.S. Border Patrol.
Undeniably, there is a problem of humanitarian proportions in the Rio Grande Valley sector that we must deal with.
In the past 8 months, U.S. Border Patrol has detained 47,000 unaccompanied minors, almost double last year's number. They're said to be fleeing gang violence and poverty. But sources say they're also motivated by the belief that women and children will not be deported. Immigration activists say the children are being treated badly.
They are being shackled. They're being routinely denied food and water and medical treatment.
But this government video shows an HHS facility where children seem to be treated well, in cafeterias and classrooms learning English. More than 600 of the young immigrants are on their way from Texas and Arizona to Fort Sill, an Army post in Lawton, Oklahoma. Residents there are concerned about the long term. Who will take care of them?
We don't have the answers to the questions. We know that Oklahoma will be overburdened if these children should be released into Oklahoma.
To the south on America's border, one source says the U.S. is fighting a losing battle against this immigrant surge. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
And joining us for some insight on this is reporter Chuck Holton, who lives with his family in Panama. Chuck, why do you think these kids are streaming across the border in such huge numbers?
Well, Mark, there are two big factors in this equation. One is a push factor, that is the poverty and the violence that's taking place in those Latin American countries. And the other is a pull factor, and that is several issues here in the United States. One is that we've got 12 million undocumented Latin American people here working in the United States. And those people have families back in Latin America. And so as things get violent and as things get poor in those countries, in Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador, their children decide to come north to live with their fathers in the United States. But the bigger issue, Mark, is the welfare state in the United States. It's hard for an American to understand how unbelievable that sounds to somebody in Latin America. Where I live in Panama, they don't have any welfare system. If you don't work, you don't eat. And surprisingly enough, people survive without help from the government. And so the thought that you could go to America and you could get paid just for being there and not even have to work is just mind-boggling to these people. I know people in Panama who are wealthy, but who choose to go illegally into the United States right before they have a baby, because they know that if they have a baby in the United States, then that child will be an American citizen, and they'll be able to have the baby for free, and they'll be able to stay and get postpartum care and all that sort of thing, and then they come back to Panama 6 or 7 months later.
So what else?
I've seen that happen.
Yeah. So you're kind of going along with these reasons. What else do they think is waiting for them in America?
Well, again, they have family, most of them up here. But for many of them, if you think, gosh, why would they take the danger of making that kind of a voyage up here as an unaccompanied minor? Well, it's dangerous where they live too. Places like El Salvador, in a lot of respects, are really like a failed state. El Salvador, they say that 90% of the crime goes unsolved. Well, when you can't even solve 10% of the crime in your country, the government of that country really doesn't have much of a handle on things. And so the mothers down there, they're looking at their prospects and they're saying, my daughters are being raped by the gang members here in El Salvador. So, maybe they have a chance of being sexually abused in the United States too, but hopefully they have a chance of a better life. So it's really a choice between bad and worse.
Okay, Chuck Holton, thanks so much for being with us and sharing your insights.
Well, protesters marched outside the White House today. They believe President Obama and his administration aren't doing enough to free a Christian woman sentenced to die in Sudan. Paul Strand was there and has more on their message to Mr. Obama.
Representatives from some 40 groups gathered outside the White House to protest the death sentence hanging over a young Christian woman in Sudan. Senator Ted Cruz was there to point out Miriam Ibrahim has been sentenced to die because this daughter of a Muslim is herself a practicing Christian.
Very simply, the fact that she is a Christian, that she attends a local Catholic church, is deemed a crime there, and for that crime, she has been sentenced to 100 lashes. and then to hang by the neck till dead.
Miriam's young son is imprisoned with her, as is her newborn baby. Some of the protesters wore red links as they marched and demonstrated.
These represent the chains that Miriam Abraham has been wearing since she was imprisoned in Sudan. She actually was forced to give birth while wearing them, and so we wanted to wear them today in solidarity with our Christian sister who was imprisoned only because of her faith.
Miriam's married to an American citizen, making her children eligible to be American citizens. That's one of the reasons the protesters can't believe the American president has been silent about what's happening to Miriam and her children.
These demonstrators are saying there's little downside to the White House taking action. President Obama, with just a few words, could have a big effect on Miriam's fate at very little cost to himself.
In fact, the only cost might be a little loss of prestige if the tin pot dictatorship of Sudan ignores the president. But the protesters say the situation's so dire, that's a risk well worth taking.
The White House has been silent on Miriam and her two children that have been in a Sudanese prison for months, a prison that is deadly. This time of year, one infant a day dies, and Miriam is in there with a 20-month-old and now one that's about 2 weeks old.
What the government of Sudan is proposing to do to this young mother is grotesque, it is immoral, it is horrendous, it is wrong, and we should speak out with one voice in unison to free Miriam Ibrahim.
Paul Strand, CBN News, the White House.
Thanks, Paul. The Sudanese government arrested a friend of Miriam's lawyers. Sharif Al-Din Mohammed did translation work for a British journalist from the Daily Mail. Human rights workers fear for Mohammed's safety, saying he's receiving threats in jail because of his involvement with foreigners.
Up next, the World Cup kicks off in Brazil, why residents have a love-hate relationship with the world's biggest sporting event.
The American Bible Challenge is back. All new tonight. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
The American Bible Challenge. All new tonight, 8/7 Central, only on Game Show Network.
This is a national healthcare alert from the Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You could qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Get free delivery, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers at no charge to you. If you're on Medicare and have knee pain, don't wait. You may qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost. Friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. Call the Health Hotline right now for details toll-free. Our friendly representatives are standing by now to take your call. We also have other pain-relieving braces available for shoulder, ankle, and your back. You may be eligible to receive these items and more at little or no cost to you as well. Call right now for details toll-free.
Operators are standing by. Call 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143. Again, 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143.
The American Bible Challenge is back. All new tonight. Jeff Foxworthy is ready to play.
The whole family's gonna love it.
Kurt Franklin's gonna sway.
Are you ready?
And you'll see the Bible in a whole new way.
Don't I look chic? That was impressive.
The American Bible Challenge. All new tonight, 8/7 Central, only on Game Show Network.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now.
The World Cup is underway in Brazil. Many there are looking for the games to bring a big economic boost, but some of the locals aren't so sure and think hosting the biggest sporting event in the world is a big mistake. Here's CBN's Heather Sells.
In the months leading up to the World Cup, disenchanted Brazilians have organized regular protests across the country. Their main complaint, Brazil has wasted $11 billion preparing for the Cup and neglected needs at home.
Answer these questions. Who will profit more, FIFA businessmen or Brazilian people?
Brazil actually bid for the Cup back in 2006. That's a time when it was much more confident economically.
At the time, Brazil's economy was growing well. Its government wanted to showcase the country's achievements and to really show how fast it was coming up in the world.
In recent years, though, the economy has sputtered, and Brazil's infrastructure and education system have lagged. Now the president is in damage control mode, promoting the Cup and everything Brazil has poured into it. And she's getting support from some who believe Brazil has the resources to fund the Cup and keep investing in its economy. Another payoff, the Cup could enhance Brazil's international reputation.
Most countries who host these large international sporting events don't really make money on them. It's really more of an opportunity to showcase their political achievements.
Trincunas says long-term Brazil is on track to succeed as a rising global power. And in the short term, he notes that the protests and complaints may fade as the excitement of soccer builds, especially if Brazil does well in the Cup. Heather Sells, CBN News.
The soccer world faces more controversy as reports of corruption swirl around the 2022 World Cup and its host country, Qatar. Earlier this week, London's Sunday Times leaked emails revealing that a top soccer administrator from Qatar bribed voters to give his country the right to host the big game. Big-name sponsors are calling for an investigation of the claims. Meanwhile, around 1,000 migrant workers in Qatar have already died building the new stadium in preparation for the 2022 games. And get this, 88% of the country's residents are migrant workers. Qatar has come under fire from critics for its unsafe work conditions.
Coming up, it's being called the cancer killer, and it's saving lives with virtually no side effects.
Stop living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me.
I'm happy with the way I look now. I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
And it was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
This is a national healthcare alert from the Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You could qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Get free delivery, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers at no charge to you. If you're on Medicare and have knee pain, don't wait. You may qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost. Friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. Call the Health Hotline right now for details toll-free. Our friendly representatives are standing by now to take your call. We also have other pain-relieving braces available for shoulder, ankle, and your back. You may be eligible to receive these items and more at little or no cost to you as well. Call right now for details toll-free.
Operators are standing by. Call 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143. Again, 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143.
A new study suggests women who eat more red meat may have a slightly higher risk of breast cancer. Researchers at Harvard University followed up on a study of nearly 90,000 women ages 25 to 45 who completed surveys back in 1991. Their consumption of red meat varied from never to 6 or more servings a day. This most recent study confirms the original findings.
Well, imagine a free cancer treatment with virtually no side effects. Its supporters say sugar is cancer food. So if you cut out the carbs, you can kill the cancer. And they have success stories to back them up. Lori Johnson has the story.
Dr. Fred Hatfield is an impressive guy. He's a powerlifting champion, author, millionaire businessman with a beautiful wife. But he'll tell you his greatest accomplishment is killing his cancer, just in the nick of time.
The doctors gave me 3 months to live because of widespread metastatic cancer in my skeletal structure. 3 months. 3 different doctors told me that same thing.
It's a horrible, horrible feeling to have someone tell you that the person that you love only has 3 months to live and you're not going to be with him anymore.
While Fred was preparing to die, he heard about an anti-cancer diet, also known as metabolic therapy. With nothing to lose, he gave it a try and was shocked when it actually worked.
And the cancer was gone, completely. To this day, there's no trace of it, and it's been over a year.
Although it wasn't easy, Fred stopped eating carbohydrates because carbohydrates turn into glucose inside your body. Cancer cells love glucose and need it so badly that if you stop giving it to them, they die.
And it just absolutely amazes me that medical science is just now finding this out.
Fred's recovery was not a surprise to Dr. Dominic D'Agostino. His team of scientists at the University of South Florida study metabolic therapy. When they removed carbohydrates from the diets of lab mice, the mice survived highly aggressive metastatic cancer, even better than when they were treated with chemotherapy.
We have dramatically increased survival with metabolic therapy. So we think it's important to get this information out.
And it's not just lab mice. He's also seen similar success in people, lots of them.
I've been in correspondence with a number of people, probably at least a dozen people, and over the last 1.5 to 2 years, and all of them are still alive, so despite the odds. And so this is very encouraging.
All cells, including cancer cells, are fueled by glucose. But if you deprive them of glucose, they switch to the alternate fuel ketone bodies, all except cancer cells. A defect prevents them from making the switch to using ketone bodies as fuel, and therefore cancer cells can only survive on glucose. All other cells can use either glucose or ketone bodies.
Your normal cells have the metabolic flexibility to adapt from using glucose to using ketone bodies. But cancer cells lack this metabolic flexibility, so we can exploit that.
People like Fred, who deprive their cells of glucose and fuel them with ketone bodies instead, eat what's known as a ketogenic diet. It consists of almost 0 carbohydrates, but lots of natural protein and fat.
You can go online and there's just cookbooks and, it's clean eating, just very clean eating. None of the sugars, the salts, the trash food.
Natural proteins are ones in their original form, but processed meats like cold cuts and hot dogs are off limits because often carbohydrates have been added to them. Natural fats are in their original form, like olive oil, avocados, nuts, and also coconut oil. But stay away from trans fats such as shortening or margarine, which are man-made. Some people are afraid to try the ketogenic diet because they think all this fat is bad for their heart. But more doctors are now saying natural fat is actually good for you, even natural saturated fat like coconut oil and butter. Doctors like cardiologist Stephen Sinatra.
Is cholesterol the major cause of heart disease? Absolutely not.
In his book, The Great Cholesterol Myth, he says the real cause of heart disease is inflammation, which comes from eating too many carbohydrates.
We need to coach our patients and empower them about the dangers of sugar. Unfortunately, they're not hearing that. They're hearing the converse, the dangers of fat. Fat is healthy for you, as long as you avoid trans fats.
So by cutting back on carbohydrates and eating natural fats and proteins, you could improve your heart health and even wipe out cancer. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Up next, with millions attending the World Cup, the Brazilian church gears up to take the gospel to the nations right in their own backyard.
A Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Well, as we reported earlier on CBN NewsWatch, the World Cup is underway now in Brazil.
The game draws millions from around the world, and it's an opportunity the Brazilian church is not overlooking. Many churches there are taking the gospel to the nations, while the nations are visiting their country. Christians are handing out literature with a message of hope to all the soccer fans. Some are also flashing a red card, similar to the cards used by soccer referees, but with a message warning against human trafficking.
Then there are the typical, drama, dance, cultural exchange teams that are on the streets and ministering to the people. We have many different opportunities to also reach out to people in different languages. For example, you can now on your smartphone actually download 700 languages of the spoken New Testament.
Wow, that's great. Well, Christians plan on sharing the gospel all the way through the championship game, which is not until July 13th, Wendy.
All right. Well, those beaches sure looked inviting about right now.
Yeah, it'd be neat to go see a couple games there at the World Cup, huh?
I would love to go to Brazil, and what a great place to evangelize.
That's right. Yeah, they're seizing the moment, aren't they? That's what we're supposed to do.
May the best team win.
That's right.
Well, that's all for this edition of NewsWatch.
Remember, you can email us your comments and questions at newswatch@cbn.com. Hope you'll join us next time.
Good night.